All right, so yesterday, well, I don't know what day it was, but good morning. I realized I wanted to share with you. Remember, I told you how I was going to have a conversation with my third period students, my third block students, who I trusted them to do the literature circles. I thought they would do well with the literature circles, and I was not seeing that from the majority of my students. So we had a heart to heart, and I said, "This is the reason why I gave you this assignment. Is because I trust in your brilliance, I trust in your intelligence, I trust that you are responsible enough to handle this. My other class, I know they're not." I said, "Nevertheless, what I'm not getting back is consistent effort." And one child, she's like, "Not me." I was like, "You're the exceptions to the rule, but the rest of your peers, I'm not getting it. So we can either scrap this and go to the textbook and just read stories and answer questions, or we can continue with this novel." So I kept talking and kept reiterating and saying some things. So finally, I was like, "Okay, time's up." All right, so somehow I've deleted the other portion of the video. So when I was like, after I did all my talking, I didn't even realize I didn't allow my kids to talk amongst themselves. So when I was like, "What's y'all decision?" One of my students, China, was like, "You didn't allow us to discuss it yet." So I walked out the room, stood outside, let them talk amongst themselves, and they decided we were going to step it up and do the work. But again, for those who don't know, when it comes to literature circles, every child is given a role, whether it's an illustrator, which means you have to, based on the reading you've done so far, what is your artistic interpretation? Then you have what is called the bridge builder, which you have to connect it to either yourself, something that's happened in another text, something that has happened in real world, and you have to make those connections. And y'all bring this to the table and discuss it as a group, what y'all came up with. One person has to come up with discussion questions, and I made them come up with Costas level questions. It had to be like a level 1 and a level 2. There are other roles in there, like it's a total, I want to say 5 or 6 roles. I feel like I'm missing 2 of them. Quotes. Someone had to bring up very important quotes or very important words you believe the author used. I want to say that was called the word dictator, where they have to look at word choice, vocabulary, just particular quotes. Why do you think that author chose to use that? That was one of the roles. And there's one more I know I'm forgetting. And then at the end of reading a particular portion, you had to discuss this, all what y'all came up with for your role. And then y'all had to respond to each other's what y'all brought to the table, what y'all discussed, what went well, what didn't went well. And you had to do this a period of maybe 5 to 6 times, depending on how long the book was. I'll admit Romiette and Julio was a lot longer than Street Love, which were the 2 options. I assigned it based on not only interest level, but Street Love is a little bit more complicated than Romiette and Julio. So there were some kids I assigned knowing intellectually, even though this was a CP class, I felt like you could handle the poetry or the prose better than actual book. Some of them, it was a little struggle for them, but they went in a group with someone who could help them. But it was an experience where sometimes you have to be willing to allow your children to have choice, or make them feel like they're having choice.